Good morning, children. Lesson number 10, Weather and Climate. So, the factors influencing climate. So, first, second is over. Now, third point, distance from the sea. Distance from the sea. The climate of a place is also determined by the distance of the place from the sea. The climate of a place is also determined by the distance of the place from the sea. Places near the sea have a moderate climate. Summers and winters are neither too hot nor too cold. The places which are away from the sea have an extreme climate. Summers are too hot and winters are too cold. So children, this is all about the distance from the sea. The first point is saying that the climate of a place is also determined by the distance of the place from the sea. That means the places near the sea have a moderate climate. Places near the sea have a moderate climate, whereas places away from the sea have extreme climate. So, it is lesson trying to explain is that the place which are very determined by the distance from the sea especially, they experience a moderate climate, especially whether it is summer and winters are neither too hot nor too cold, because these are determined by the distance of the place from the sea. So the third point is saying that the places which are away from the sea have an extreme climate. So it can be too hot, summers are very hot and the winters are too cold. This is when it happens when the places which are away from the sea, very far from the sea, so those places will experience very extreme climate. Extreme means too high. It can be a too hot or it can be a too cold. Too cold. So you look at the pictures here. Here there is a sun. Cooler air sinks. Rising air helps from clouds. Sea breeze. Sinking air spreads along surface. Ocean is cooler compared to land. Cold source heat sink. Land heats up, heat source. So warm air rises. See, look at this. This is a sun. Cooler air sinks. Sea breeze. Warmer air is rising up, and finally the rising air helps from clouds. Okay, during the summer, when the warm air above the land rises and the cool breeze from the sea occupies the space, making the place near the sea cooler. See children, this is during the summer when the warm air above the land rises and the cool breeze from the sea occupies the space. See, it's a very simple example. So you just imagine this is a land. So when from the land, when the air goes above the land, so the space which occupies here near the sea is cooler. is cooler. So therefore what it makes, the places nearby the sea as always experience a cold. So in winter, when the land becomes cooler, when land becomes cooler, the warm air above the sea rises and moves towards land, making the place warmer in winter. So already, of course, winter you need to understand. During the winter, usually we face very chillness or cold. So that time, of course, the land will be very cold. So that moment, what happens? The warmer air above the sea rises. The warmer air above the sea level it rises. So therefore, what happens? The place which are very closer to the sea, they are very warm in winter. They are warm in winter. Example: Allahabad is away from the sea. So the summers are too hot and winters are too cold. Allahabad is away from the sea. So therefore, their summers are very hot and the winters are too cold. So even Mumbai is near the sea. So the summers and winters are neither cold nor hot. It is a moderate climate. It is a moderate climate. So next we have the fourth factors, that is wind. That is wind. Moving air is called wind. So moving air is called wind. Wind affects the climate of an area depending on the place from where it comes. Wind may be hot, cold or fully moisture. Wind blowing from a hot region makes the place hot. See children, moving air is called wind, moving air. So air usually we experience a very cool and very silent and very gentle way of air. But the wind we can make out very easily because it keeps on moving. So as I sometimes what happens, when wind comes, sometimes it flews away everything. The wind comes very strong. We can hear the sound of the trees are bending, shaking and making even the mud of the ground will fly off. So this is wind. So when wind comes, of course, the climate of that area will be affected. Of course, what happens? Wind, particularly the things will be here and there, it will fly away. Even when you look at the field and all, sometimes the what you call the whatever the crops is there, so that will be fallen down to the earth because of the blowing of the wind. So of course not only this one, it affects the climate of that area because even wind can bring the monsoon. Even wind can also cause a rain. So therefore, of course, it affects the climate of an area. So depending on the places from where it comes, wind may be hot, cold or fully moisture. Depending on the places from where it comes, so that place will be hot, cold or fully moisture. So wind blowing from a hot region makes the place very hot. Wind blowing from a hot region so makes the place hot because it carries the hot breeze, hot wind. So therefore, so that the particular place where that wind blows, that particular area or the place will be hot. Example: the hot wind which blows from the desert of Rajasthan makes Delhi very hot during summer. During winter, Delhi is cold due to the cold wind blowing from the Himalayas. So children, of course, the Rajasthan is a desert as we already know. So it is very hot. Night is very cold there. Not too cold I can say, but it is a cold because what happens, the sand in Rajasthan, in a desert, what happens, it gets down very fast, gets down cool very fast. Therefore what happens, in the desert the nights always remain cold, but during the day you cannot even bear the heat of the sun, so it is too hot. So what happens, when the winds blow from a state of Rajasthan towards the Delhi, so of course the Delhi remains very hot during the summer. Same thing it happens to Himalayas. Of course Himalayas are very cold places, always Himalayas are covered with the ice and this one. So therefore what happens, when the wind blow from Himalayas, the Delhi remains very cold. So look at the pictures here. Warm air is here, the cool sea breeze is here. This is a sea cooler, and the day, this is a day, and the land warmer. So that is how it helps out to cool breeze and the warm air. And the second picture you can see, the warm air comes here and the cool breeze comes to the land. That is, then the sea remains warmer here. It is a night, land cooler night. So always, of course, in a desert what happens, the nights always remain cold. So therefore what happens, the night the land remains the cold.